Welcome back to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest running sales training podcast history. I'm Bill Caskey.
Bryan Neal here.
We want to thank those who joined us here a couple of weeks ago. We did a live, LinkedIn Live, kind of behind the scenes where we recorded the podcast, had great attendance at that. I think we had probably 150 people who were on at some point during the episode. So we'll probably do that again. Sounded good. We had a lot of good comments and feedback. So thanks to those who listened.
That was great. And it was sort of a surprise. So I think, sometimes people, heard about it late, or like, oh, I didn't know this was going on. So we'll announce it earlier, maybe next time. And see if we can break the internet. We'll break LinkedIn. We will.
Are you doing any LinkedIn Live?
No, this is my first one ever.
Yeah. I'm doing them every Friday. And it's interesting because it used to be that the lives got a lot of back end play, like you didn't get a lot of people there during it because it didn't get announced until the time that you do it. People have commitments, but you used to get hundreds, if not thousands, of views afterwards. I don't find that anymore. LinkedIn is just really cut back on the promotion of stuff like that. And they, for years we heard, oh, LinkedIn's into video. They want live. They want you to go live. They don't want me to go live because they're not spreading the word.
LinkedIn is into not let anyone find out what LinkedIn is into. That's what LinkedIn is into. LinkedIn is into keeping you guessing on the algorithm, right? Everybody keeps chasing it.
True.
Not a fan. I had a couple that, I don't know how this relates to that. I was thinking about sayings. I love sayings, like and I love the history of sayings. But there's a couple sayings that I'm curious about because they're time stamped. Well, the first one's not time stamped. You know how we say happy as a clam? Where does that come from? Are clams happy? Because I don't understand. I try to find my way into that one. I haven't looked it up yet.
That's bad.
And I'm like, a clam doesn't seem that happy. It just sort of sits there. It's kind of gross on the inside. You know what I mean?
On the inside could be very pleased with itself.
But I'm sure.
Pleased with itself because that is all it does all day. So
the other thing I'm wondering is, how did we measure hail sizes before we had golf balls
and baseballs?
Exactly. There had to be hail on the earth before this, and people were talking about it. And baseball was invented in the 1800s. We had like newspapers back in the 1700s, I think. And, I just wondered how that all started. And, there had to be the first person to say everything. Like, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Sit back and relax. That's P.T. Barnum. Everyone says he said that first.
Oh, really?
Who's the first one to turn the size of hail into the size of another inanimate object? Someone had to do that first.
That's a good point. I'm afraid that the other option there would have been to measure the size of hail in metric, which would leave, which would mean we wouldn't understand it anyway. Oh, it was like 3.5 centimeters. I'm sorry, it does not compute. Have no idea what you're talking about.
We're still hanging on to that, aren't we? The old miles, pounds, and as innovative as we are, we won't let that one go, will we?
I have this guy I follow on Twitter. He's a fitness bro, and that's where I get a lot of my fitness ideas and weightlifting and all that. And he went through this long thing about this and that and this and that, creatine and why you need. And at the end, he said, "Here's the way. It's 5 milligrams." Like, I'm sorry. All that reading I did, and you lost me. I have no idea.
Pour it. You can just free pour that, can't you, Bill? Free measure. 5 millis.
A pinch.
I literally don't even know what that is.
Well, 5 milligrams is not much. But I had to look it up. It's like, why didn't you say a half a teaspoon? We understand that. And it's an American guy, but
he's American.
Liters, milliliters and kilometers, and I love the British. I love the Europeans, but you got to understand you're talking to Americans.
Seriously,
not very smart.
Does he say stone? That's that's a
no, he doesn't say stone, but that's a weight, a form of weight.
Yeah. Like you lost some weight.
Lost 4.5. I'm 4.5 stone now. 3 kilos. All right. Okay. So what is your topic today?
I had a topic that's interesting. So we talk about, innovation and new things and AI and all the tech stacks and all the new things, all the new trends. Sometimes what we don't talk about is what hasn't changed, what has stood the test of time over decades and decades of sales advice being spewed and thrown around. And so I thought it'd be good to revisit some things and put us in a little reflective mode. Bill and I've been selling for a minute or two, and say what has been the same. Well, what hasn't changed? And it could be a technique, it could be a concept, it could be anything that was true then, has been true the whole time, is true now, and likely will be true in the future. Because there's some, a lot of things haven't changed. A lot of things.
Do you think that we move to the new thing and then we replace it? We replace the old thing with it, and then the old thing we realize worked pretty well. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, it's part of it. Yes, yeah, and or like one of my little big hangups is we've you and I met in the 90s, and when we met, companies had these certain sales problems. This problem, that problem, whatever. And now we've got all this tech. Now we have the internet. Now we have AI. And people have the same problems. Same problems.
They do.
Same things. It's the same thing. Nothing has really changed for 40 years. You'd think at this point we'd have a 100% closing ratio, and we'd only do deals with people that we knew were going to buy. You'd think we'd be there by now. We're not even close. So it's just an interesting thing.
It is interesting. I'm wondering how much of that's just human. Human nature has probably not changed. But I've got one. When you were talking about this in the pre-show, when we had breakfast this morning and met for a couple hours on the pre-show, one thing I thought about was, I don't know if you and I were working together when we used to do executive briefings.
Oh, sure, of course.
Executive seminars.
Oh, my, it's the best.
Where we would send out a fax, 1,000 faxes, and 20 people would show up, and we would do business from that. And I think that whole executive preview thing, now that was in person, obviously, but I think there's some value in bringing people together in a group. And I remember there was friendships made, and it was only an hour and a half thing, but there seemed to be some energy in a group. And I don't know if you can totally replicate that online, but I don't find a lot of companies doing that online, where they bring together groups of customers or groups of prospects or both, or whether they bring together just people in general and talk about things. I think there's a lot of power in that, especially today, where people are kind of isolated and still are as a result of 2020. And so I think can you invite people to an online group where you discuss some of the challenges and some? It can't be a pitch fest, but I think there's value in that.
Speaking of, I'd like to talk to you about the insider, but it's true though. Yeah. We do that all. We just did, yes. So we run peer groups for VPs of sales. Talk to any of them. They love it. And one of them came in and he was talking about this. He said, people love to benchmark themselves against others. They want to know, how's everybody else doing or doing this? They want to know, what am I not missing? Because it is isolating. And it's so true.
Especially for a VP of sales who doesn't really have a lot of other VPs of sales in the company, probably.
Right. Oh, yes.
Probably the only person. They can't really go to their sales team. They don't want to go to the CEO or the senior. So where do you go for ideas and for expansion and for checking things out and for examination? Yeah. That's good.
Group therapy. I love it. It's so true. God, those were the days. Bill and I, we used to buy, you could buy a mass fax list. You could mass fax people. And you'd send them an invitation to this thing, and they'd write down, yes or no. And the fax machine would start, like, here comes one. And it took like 10 minutes for one page to print. and the RSVP was at the bottom. So you're looking, is it a yes or a no? And like, oh, it's a no.
It's a no. Get me off your list.
Take me off your list. Oh, those are great. Here's one. I think what's been true all along, and is true and will remain true, is the art and skill of discovery and qualification. There has to be some sort of, either whether it's diagnosis or interaction or conversation that takes place, and to be good at the skill of understanding, uncovering a client issue, or uncovering that there is no client issue.
My number 2 was understanding, but go ahead.
Dang it. We didn't prep either. We didn't share notes. I don't think that's ever gone away. I don't think it ever will. I think AI can help with that, but AI can't right now. I don't think people are comfortable with it critically thinking live in front of another person. I don't think another person's comfortable with that. Like, could AI sit there and have a critical thinking conversation with you? Probably, but it might get awkward, for a human to be talking to a computer. So, So if AI took over for the salesperson, I don't think that's going to happen. So, that's the thing. I think to be really good at discovery and asking people questions and being curious is a time tested skill.
I love it. And I just wrote the word understanding because our nature is to seek to be understood. And right now, when it's an AI bot, we kind of know it. I mean, we kind of feel like, really, do they have people standing by all the time? So I just ask one question and boom, there's a human being. Of course not. We know it's a bot.
That's right.
And at some point, we will probably become okay with that, where we say, well, it's a bot here, but everybody's got a bot, so we might as well talk to it and pretend maybe bots are smarter than humans at this company. But I think there's something that goes with truly asking questions and understanding the plight, the dilemma, the problem, what they're trying to accomplish, where they're trying to go. I'm not sure AI is there yet. I'm sure people will say, oh, it is. But there's something about the human voice and about having a phone call for 30 minutes and really just bonding and reports. Not always about what's your biggest problem, how much does it cost you, sometimes it's just about, hey, what do you do over there in Columbus, Ohio for gigs? And that's hard to replace. But I think that the skill of understanding is it's not a lost art. People still do it, but I don't think it's as easy as it used to be.
I love it. All right, what's your next?
Oh,
one down.
Well, I had written down soul, and this is SOUL, and I don't know if it's time tested or not, but sometimes I feel, and this is a personal feeling, I feel like, are we really bringing our soul to the market and to our business? And I know we're bringing value. We want to be valuable and we want to close the deal. And I wonder how soulful that really is. And I don't even know how to describe it other than, is there a deeper reason you do what you do and I do what I do? Is there a deeper reason? And how free do you feel to put that out there?
Yeah, right.
So in other words, if I'm selling geopolitical consulting advice, and it's $200,000 worth of geopolitical, and that's my bottom line. That's where I start, and I'm talking to a company. And could I say, look, if you work with us, I'm going to give you awesome advice and good counsel, and it's going to be $200,000. But let me tell you why I really do this work. I do this work because I hate to see people struggle like you, who are getting ready to enter into other global markets. You have no freaking clue what's going on. That doesn't feel right to me. So that's why I do this. In other words, is there a deeper meaning, soulful meaning of why you do this work, and should that come out?
Yes.
It's easy for us. I think it's easy in our business because the soulfulness is kind of connected to the work. But if you're selling geopolitical consulting or you're a Patterson rep trying to sell equipment, how much soulfulness is there? Yeah.
There's got to be something in there. Well, I guess there doesn't have to be. It'd be nice if there was, though.
It'd be nice if there was. Yeah. I bet if you look close enough, there is.
Yes. And if you looked in the mirror close enough, you'll find it in there. And it could be the pride, the Patterson Dental thing. Once that equipment's delivered and it's set up and you see patients in it, I got to think that feels really good. Because you saw it when it was just an idea or drawings of here's 8 operatories, but all of a sudden you see a little kid sitting there getting dental work done, or someone getting a $30,000, maxillofacial surgery done to fix their teeth that they've hated how they looked their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a pretty cool feeling, I would think.
And you were a part of that.
Part of it.
Yeah.
That must feel good at some point. Or a dentist sells their practice and retires.
Yeah, because she had your equipment and profited. I think that's up to the sales leader to reinforce that too. I don't think sales managers typically go down that path. I think the path they go down is more operational and if we truly believe that our people need to be motivated and inspired to do good work, not just work, but good work, then it seems like why they're in the business should be a topic that's reinforced. And
okay, my last one is the time-tested skill of planning and execution of a plan. You go back to old war, you go back to old football from the 1800s, you go back to in the 50s and 60s, pick anything. If you create a plan to get from an A to a B, and you do steps along the plan and you work the steps, your odds go up that you're going to achieve
Bingo.
the plan.
Bingo.
And so many people, I still to this day, it's 2025. Bill, you get this. If you're listening to this, I said, hey, real quick, open up your laptop or whatever and show me your business plan. 9 out of 10 salespeople don't have one. They have a goal, but they have no plan to get to their goal.
Bingo.
They have no mechanism to do the work.
Yeah.
And that's not new or innovative. And still people don't do it. And I just don't understand sometimes.
Why? Why do you think that is?
I don't know if it's so there's, I do. I have two hunches. One is they don't know how to write a plan.
Mm-hmm.
They stare at a blank page and they don't know how to use tools around them like Google and AI to say, hey, give me a template for a business plan. Or, hey, Bryan and Bill talked about that a long time ago in 2017 and offered to send in a copy of one. So they don't know how. That's one. The second thing is they are afraid to commit for fear of failure. Once I start to write my plan down, I define in writing on a piece of paper visually a thing that I can fail at. If I don't write anything down, I can't look at that and go, God, I failed at that. If I write it down and didn't do it, I can feel like a loser. That's what I think is part of the hang up too. If I write down that I want to write a book and I'm going to sit down and write for 20 minutes a day for 2 months and I feel like a loser. If I don't write it down, I don't feel like a loser. Like, I still want to write a book. That I think that's part of it too. It's a little deeper.
Yeah, I think there's a third that comes to me when you're talking, and that is I don't know how committed we are to our goals. I mean, I think we are asked to put a goal out there because our manager or maybe our spouse or maybe we say to ourselves, hey, come on, man, it's 2025, 2026. You need a goal. Okay, what is it? Well, I want to make $400,000 this year. Okay, good. That's up from 300. Yep.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? Well, I just got to make more calls. So you get back to, is there really any commitment if there's no plan?
Interesting.
But this is a great topic as a standalone too, because I'm convinced that there's always a step-by-step process to accomplishing a goal. It's always there.
Yes.
But we don't summon it. And we expect to know it. I think this is where ego kind of comes in. We expect, I've been doing this 10 years. I should know how to go from 200 to 400. No, you shouldn't, because today's tactics are different than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you might have known how to do it then. Also, I wonder, and I think there's a certain amount of fear of success that goes along with not doing the plan. Because what if I did this plan? I say I want to go, but what if I did this plan and it worked? What does that set me up for?
Yeah.
Does that set me up for a fall? Does that set me up for having to replace all my friends? Does it set me up for, being ungrounded because I just tripled my income in 1 year? I mean, do I have to now give to charities? I mean, I think there's a anxiety. I don't know if it's fear of success. I just think there's this reluctance for success. I see this. I mean, how many times have you seen somebody you've come across in coaching where you say, man, she is good.
Yeah.
He is unbelievable, but yet they don't act like it.
Yeah.
And part of that allure is they don't act like it. So there's, it's like the beautiful girl is more beautiful when she doesn't think she's beautiful.
Right.
To take a toxic masculine approach to that.
Exactly. Same applies for guys.
We've all seen people who we say, why are they here? And why are they accomplishing this? And what's really happening? And sometimes we don't see our own possibility.
Yes. Really good. Yeah. That's its own standalone topic.
Yeah.
That's really great.
All right. Yeah. This is a good topic. This is a good topic about going back to the basics, back to the.
Yeah. What hasn't changed?
Back to the knitting, as you used to say in your.
Oh, man. That was, that's
another saying.
Tell me, no, Stick to the Knitting is from In Search of Excellence. That's the name of the book. Remember that?
Yeah.
Search of Excellence from Tom Peters from the 80s. Stick to the knitting. Stick to the knitting.
I don't think that's where it started, though.
Probably not. Yeah,
I think Peters.
He stole that one and wrote it.
So if you're interested in learning more about the Insider program, it's a monthly training that we do. It's an hour and 15 minutes a month. We have real specific topics that we do. You can go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider. All the topics for the rest of the year are there. Our next one coming up. It's typically the first Friday of the month. So our next one here is coming up in May. If you're listening to this in April, coming up soon.
Should all join. Say it all the time.
It's good progress.
Stop not joining. Join it. All right. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.